Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Yes, it's a beautiful Monday morning and we are here on Cactv. This is the newspaper review on Morning Dew. I remain yours truly, Modest Dominic.
And I'm Dapo Oloronto. Good morning, Modat.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. How is Nigeria to you? How was your weekend?
We can't complain.
Hope you enjoyed the election, The updates as it was on entering your phone hot.
Honestly, you needed to go to X and see what was going on. The update on X was simply amazing. You just read, you just have to go through. You see, if you're bored, just go on X. Go through the analysis that was, uploaded for the results. It was quite amazing. Let me not just say much. Okay, so this is where we'll quickly go on a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the quotes that we have for the day, and then we'll take a look also at the headlines making the news around the globe. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly.
Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire. Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Welcome back. Our quote for the day is from the book of Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 15. Proverbs 17 and verse 15, it says, "He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the just, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord." This is the word of the Lord to us today on a Monday morning. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the just, he said, both of them are abomination to the Lord. In other words, if we justify wickedness, what are the attributes of wickedness? Examination malpractice, when you underpay people, when you cheat people at election polls, when you do injustice as a lawyer, when you do bad roads as an engineer, when you construct things that are not worth it and then you ascribe billions to it. All of the corruption in the world is wickedness. God is saying you are nothing but an abomination to himself. So I want to appeal to us that to come out of that level of abomination into righteousness, please do away with wickedness and do not condemn the just. People who have not done any bad, people who have not committed any offense, and then you take for instance our officer, our police, who would sometimes act funny. They have done that to me before, they have done that to my colleagues, to many of us before. This is what the Lord is saying: do not condemn the just. By this act, I believe we can have a sane country, a sane community, and a sane faith. God bless you and have a great day.
All right, thank you so much for that quote for today. So please do as much as you can to abstain from things that will not glorify the Lord. Okay, quickly, let's take a look at the story making headlines. We're starting with the Punch as usual. So the first story that we have from the Punch says PDP LP kicks as Uzodinma Ododo wins protest in Bayelsa. The People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party on Sunday cried for as Governor Hope Uzodinma, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, was declared the winner of Saturday's governorship poll in Imo State by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The electoral body affirmed Uzodinma re-election, having won in all the 27 local government area of the state. The governor clinched a second-term office after scoring a total of 540,008 votes, and the commission stated In Kogi, the candidate of the APC, Usman Ododo, was declared the winner of the election with 4,406 and 237 votes. Announcing the result late Sunday night, the state returning officer, Prof. Johnson Urama, said Ododo was closely followed by the Social Democratic Party candidate, Muri Ajaka, who scored 259 52 votes. Dino Milaye of the PDP gained 48,362 votes. Leke Bajide of the African Democratic Party also scored 21,891, and Adejo Okeme of the LP also scored 567. The total number of the registered voters was 1,932,474, and accredited voters numbered was 7,094 and 500. That's the first story that we have from the Punch newspaper. Okay, so going by the results that we have, and I want to say congratulations to the one who has been re-elected as the governor of Bayelsa State and also Imo State. Okay, so there is so much going on around this story of the election, but which I really want you to shed more light to it, because I really do not want to talk much about it. Like Engineer Ola would always say, that anything that has to do with politics, I don't want to talk much on it. So what's your take?
Well, for me, we thank God for the outcome of the election, because it looks like what we had during the presidential election, because it has generated lots of abuse, lots of distrust, lot of condemnation from the opponents or from the opposition parties, and like that, the court has become a norm in our system, and I think that is what the oppositions will resort to. And to some extent, I want to say congratulations, like you said, to the winners of the polls, and INEC. I don't know how to rate them until the tribunal make a verdict. But while we await what the tribunal will say, my heart goes to our famous Dino Milaye, who came distance third.
The gap is so much.
The gap between him and the first two, Jesus Christ. I don't know how. I don't know. You see, the general politics. One should just be fat. We should be. I don't know. We are preaching to people to be in politics, but sometimes when you hear the news, are we democratic? I don't know.
So now I'm not saying, okay, so what about the people who also campaigned for him? For him to
So
have gotten that number of votes. So what
it's
then
really
happened?
questionable.
That they didn't even come out to vote for him at all. What about the people in his
So
party?
the Kogi most famous politician has suddenly become unfamous in 2023.
So sometimes
I don't understand.
Sometimes when things like that happen, when you see people cheering you up and say, "Don't worry, go, we are solidly behind you." Look again and pay attention and be sure that they are truly.
And so
behind you.
we are saying that APC, with everything Nigerians are suffering, APC had won all the states in Nigeria, and then I don't know.
It's questionable. It's
Kudos to INEC for a job. Let me greet you like Buhari. to INEC.
All right, we'll take a look at the second story that we have still on the Punch newspaper, and this says Nigerians make unfair demands on lawmakers. Senate President. The Senate President Godwill Akpabio says of the three arms of government, legislators and the most misunderstood and attacked by Nigerians. According to him, Nigerians blame lawmakers for everything, including things not directly under their control. The Senate President, represented by the Senator representing Ogun Central, Shuaib Salisu, said this on Sunday at the 100th birthday colloquium of a Second Republic lawmaker, Senator Kunle Oyero, organized by the Abeokuta Grammar School Old Boys Association in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Akpabio said, "The one arm of government that people don't really understand and is always a subject of ridicule and attack is the legislature. In fact, people sometimes don't think legislators do anything at all. The problem is that the metric of measuring the performance of the legislators by the electorate is different from what is contained in the syllabus. The syllabus will say, as a legislator, your role is to make laws, perform oversight functions, and make appropriations. Those are the three things a legislator must perform. But any senator that confines himself to that will not get a return ticket, even in his party, because the metric of measuring the performance of legislators in the number of transformers and the other material things this give to the people they are representing." However, the global president of AGSOPBA, Sunday Odunton, advocated that lawmakers should work part-time. Okay, so that's the second story that we have. And seeing that, when I saw the headlines that Nigerians are always, talking so much about the legislator, I'm like, what exactly is going on? Why should he even make that statement in the first place? People cannot say what they are not seeing. People cannot say what they are not going through. Okay, so it brings me to the point of asking, are Nigerians actually wrong to ask that question or to make such statements? Now, seeing that is coming from the Senate, the president of the legislature himself. So what's your take on this?
Well, over time, Nigerians are always wrong anytime they complain at their people, their leaders in government. So we're in a country, in a part of the world where if as a citizen you say something, it is taken as criticism or condemnation. Our politicians don't like you to talk back when you see something that you are displeased with. Particularly, take for instance, the most recent is that of the purchase of SUV, 140 million or thereabout for each senator, and Nigerians can't afford. Some can't afford 1 square meal, not 2, not 3. So you sit back in the Senate, you claim that you are making laws, and then so how come the law is so to make a law you will need an SUV of 140 million naira to make a law? Is that a pen or
the law?
Is that a document that you will need in a law court to affirm the law we want you to make? I don't know how they make those appropriations of bills. And if you say constituency money or whatever, I don't know what law had to come again that will now bring about millions for the constituency. And when people have a notion of something is going to come into our constituency through the senator, they dare to ask, Mr. Senator, why are so and so, why is so and so not done? People have rights. You are there to serve the people. Before you came in, look at for instance when Governor Sanwo-Olu was to have his second term, he went to virtually all the churches in Nigeria. He even stood at the entrance of the churches shaking hands with citizens. He went all over the place. But immediately, our people are into office, they become untouchable. They now put their hands. You now see Ebola in their hands. They dare not shake anybody, and they make it so impossible for them to relate with the people. And when the people now talk that we are not happy, we are suffering, they see it as you are not supposed to.
Yes.
When a child complains in the family, parents take responsibility. That daddy paste has finished. Our butter is say the butter pan is empty. Parents provide.
That's what
you don't go back and say that's an insult. You don't come back and say this child is rude. A responsible father provides. But we have made you people the father of the nation, but you are failing. And you want the people to smile and hug you. I don't understand.
That's why I wonder why he even had to even make such statements coming from the president
of the Senate
himself, saying that people are always making unlawful demands when it comes
I don't know. So we should come and hug all of you. The fuel price is high.
Because
food we can't afford.
In the space of just in less than 1
So all of us should go and buy korope or we should trek. Why you are using SUV 160
live an extravagant life,
140 million SUVs.
They are still the one
in the name of you are serving us.
Of course.
We don't need servant again. The way Nigeria is being run, we don't want anybody to serve. Any money that comes in, they share it for everybody.
Okay.
We don't need for senator or them. Don't represent us. Don't senators.
Well, as far as that is concerned, they are still the one making laws for us. But I want to say that in the midst of all of this, if you're telling Nigerians to, endure the time, we also expect that you as a Senate, you also endure the time with us. Also make sure that you are also feeling the pain of the people. And that is what it means. For you to feel the pain of the people, it means that you also have to reject yourself of some certain things, and not just making demands, and then you're telling people to also be patient with you and then see reasons with you for things you're not doing right. So
take for instance, Akpabio, the Senate president, was a former governor. Where are the SUVs that he used to has as a governor?
And when he was actually a governor, he was actually talking about the Senate at the time, telling them that they were taking too much. They were taking too much. And
now he's there. He has become a Senate president. The music has changed. Where are we going?
No, now they know that they actually need SUVs. They actually need cars to make laws. Okay, so away from that story, because there is so much to talk about that story, but seeing that is coming from the Senate president is a no for me. There are some certain things at this point you need to encourage your people at this time, not coming out to tell them that they are wrong, to say to hear their views and also say their minds. That is so not just it at all. Okay, so lastly, let's take a look at the last story that we have from the Punch newspaper, and this says Dangote refinery secures license to refine 300,000 BPD crude. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has said his refinery has secured a license to refine more than 300,000 barrels of Nigerian crude oil per day and will begin to process gasoline soon. We don't want to start our refinery with foreign goods. We want to start with the Nigerian crude, Dangote said in an interview in Riyadh, on the sidelines of the Saudi-Nigerian Business Roundtable, according to Bloomberg. We are more than ready and you will see our gasoline products soon, he added. The refinery was supposed to start production in August but missed that target in addition to several others over the years. But Dangote insists that his refinery will start producing very soon. The refinery's first priority is to supply gasoline to Nigeria before exporting to elsewhere, including the West African region, he said. Now, we have been hearing very soon from August. Now he's coming again to assure us that very soon. But the only thing that caught my attention about the story is the fact that he said we want to start with Nigerian products, starting with the crude oil or starting with the gasoline is a good one for me. It shows that he has the interest of Nigerians at heart. Let's hope that is the case. But seeing that we are still hearing very soon, now this very soon can be next year, this very soon can be next 2 years, but he's assuring you
to tell you how absurd I am with this story. It shouldn't have made any headline.
Okay, what's
because nobody should have listened to Mr. Aliko Dangote if you like let him be interviewed by
I think it's just coming to give the Nigerians hope that something is.
Why would do you think we are fools? Somebody will just come out. He's not a politician. You're a businessman. Are you supposed to be lying to us too?
But as far as the economy is concerned,
my friend, let's next the story and listen to some serious minded people. How can we be the richest in Africa and then be taking us for granted with nonsense?
Well, that is because
do you know how many times they have promised us they are almost done, they will start. This is shit.
That is because even the president is not saying anything about it. If one is
if we are serious, we would have taken Aliko Dangote up.
Of course,
because that subsidy was taken because of the vain promises he made to Nigerians. He promised the then Buhari government that the moment they take away the subsidy, he will be producing, and that way they won't feel it. Now they took the subsidy, you are not producing. Where you are promising us again. And in November, you still come back to tell us very soon at the tail end of 2023, they should shut up.
He's giving us hope.
Their mouth stinks a lot. They should shut up.
All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at further stories making the headlines. Okay, so please stay tuned. This is still the newspaper review on Morning Dew. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll be right back shortly after this break.
Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire. Cactv, igniting the apostolic fire.
Yes, welcome back, and this is still the newspaper review on Morning Dew. So quickly we'll take a look at the news making headlines from Vanguard newspaper. So the first story that we have says subsidy removal, forex crisis, why price adjustments are inevitable. When President Bola Tinubu during his inauguration in May announced the removal of fuel subsidy, the policy was greeted with mixed feelings. While some persons believe that it was a privilege that needed to be sacrificed to free the country from the oppression of a few individuals benefiting from the humongous money paid by the government for subsidizing fuel, others insisted that the new government should have first tackled the corruption in the subsidy payment process before deciding whether it is still necessary to retain the policy. Despite the promises and intervention announced by the federal government to curtail the effect of the fuel subsidy removal adventure, 6 months later, Nigerians are still wondering if it would not have been better to indulge in the monstrous fuel subsidy cabals than enduring the beating hardship which the removal has foisted on them. Expectedly, transportation costs has skyrocketed, with food prices reaching all-time high in the country. In June, transportation fare witnessed over 100% increase across the routes. Ride-hailing companies, Bolt and Uber, immediately announced price adjustment. The impact on commodity prices was instant. For instance, we have a 50 kg bag of foreign rice, which cost a little over 39,000 in June, is now sold for about 60,000 and might rise higher as soon as the festive season approaches. So, now, speaking about the subsidy removal that we mentioned when we talk about the Dangote refinery, we see that this is something that has resurfaced in the Vanguard newspaper, and this is not far-fetched, because when you go to the market, as at Friday I went to the market to get some stuff, not just the market around us, because market around us, they will tell you that things are very expensive. Meanwhile, when you go to the main market, you buy things cheaper. But I went to the main market, which is K2 market, and then I could not get anything for a substantial amount that I went to the market with. Now you see that prices of everything, the yam, the medium yam we used to buy for 800 naira, 700 naira is now 2,000 naira, almost 2,000 naira for a tuber of yam. A tuber of yam that cannot even reach a whole family. So where exactly are we going to? We thought that this subsidy removal was supposed to better our lives and not make it worse. Now, why I'm saying we've not even approached them. We are not even in the festive season yet, and then we are experiencing this. So what then happens when we approach the festive season, or when we are in the festive season? Now, the common man cannot buy, talk about a 3 square meal for their family. Where exactly are we heading to as a nation?
Where we are heading as a nation is where we are. There is no way to predict our future than what we are seeing already. Because is there any future for suffering than to suffer? We have normalized suffering here. We have normalized crime rate. We have normalized corruption. We have normalized insecurity, and it doesn't sound like a bad news to us when we hear somebody's abducted. It doesn't sound like a bad news when we hear things are expensive. It doesn't attract any caution or whatsoever when we hear things are unaffordable,
because it
has become
a norm.
So this is where we are. This is who we are. This is what we want to be. And it's unfortunate that the APC government has done us this bad. I'm telling you, it's not from, I don't know what their experts will tell us again that will make me think that they have anything more better to offer Nigerians. They have done the worst to Nigerians, and what they still have to offer. This is just an introduction to what is really coming to us. An introduction of what is coming to us. So by the time we get into December, I don't know what will be happening. But I know it can be different from the suffering they have already impounded on the people. So let's just pray that God will, in His mercy, give us enough to be able to buy, even as expensive as they may made it be.
You understand? That is our faith, and that is our hope as believers, that no matter how much they increase everything, the hope that we have is God will continue to provide for us to make sure that we are not stranded, because as his children he cannot leave us stranded, and that is the hope that we have. No matter the economy of our country right now, God is still able to pull us through. So now going further to the next story that we have still on the Vanguard newspaper, this says we'll collaborate with monarchs for developing security. So now this says that President Bola Tinubu weekend said that his administration would collaborate with traditional rulers in the country to ensure development and end insecurity. Tinubu said this during the 70th birthday celebration of the Osemawe of Ondo Kingdom. Oba Victor Kiladejo held at the Diocese of Ondo Anglican Communion, also said that at the Cathedral Church of St. Stephen in Ondo City. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubomi Tunji Ojo, said that the collaboration become necessary for peace and tranquility to reign across the country. He also urged the monarchs to cooperate with his administration, adding that the dividend of democracy would go round. Commenting on the last 17 years reign of Oba Kiladejo, which he described as peaceful, Tinubu said, it is evident that 17 years on your imperial majesty has made that expensive office admirable, thus proving that the Kingsmaker of Ondo, previously operating under the divine inspiration, did not make a mistake in their unanimous choice of you as the next Osemawe in 2006, I beg to say. Okay, so that's the last story that we have, because we'll have to call that the last story because we are running out of time. That's the last story that we have from the Vanguard newspaper. So now the president, as of last week, we had one of the topic making headlines last week that someone said that we look forward to a time where the president will also come out and work with the monarchs of our states to make sure that peace and security is abound in our country, because security now is the order of the day, and we look forward to him not just working with the monarch of the states, but also working with the pastors, working with the clergies of the country to make sure that there is peace and security, because that is what we need right now. Security of our country is being tackled with right now, and then we need assurance. Nigerians need assurance. So what's the way forward?
It's a good thing that the president issued a statement through his minister for interior. Left to me, how do they collaborate to secure the people who are hungry, whose stomachs are very empty? How do you intend to secure those stomachs? How do you intend to secure people who are dropping out of school? How do you intend to? So see, when they say insecurity, it doesn't just have to do with life, that we go out, that we sleep and wake up in the morning. Our daily living to feed is a security on its own. To be able to afford medical bills, to be able to go to school, that's security on its own. So I don't know how they define their sense of security for the people. But if the president has said that, we are used to hearing things that they will do this, they will do that. We had a lot during this campaign. Here we are. We know what we are going through. May God help Nigeria.
Amen. I love that. May God help Nigeria, because that's the only help that we need at this time. So quickly, let's take a look at the story from the Sun newspaper. And this says how to curtail oil theft, pipeline vandalism, oil serve. The chairman and group chief executive of the oil serve group, engineer Emeka Opoza, said that the deployment of modern technology, which included drones among others, would go a long way in addressing the challenges of oil theft and pipeline vandalism. This was even as he blamed obsolete pipeline system that lacked latest monitoring technology for the constant attack on the crude oil pipeline across the Niger Delta region. Opposers stated this at the Nigerian International Pipeline Technology and Security Conference organized by the Energy and Corporate African and Pipelines Professionals Association of Nigeria in Abuja, with the theme bolstering regulations, technology and security for growth. He also added that the robust technology, which included drone, telecom, radar, satellite and cyber tools, allows for quick response to threats within a safe distance and minimal disruptions to service. He also lamented that the absence of a fiber optic detection system in most of these lines necessitates a heavy reliance and physical security, which is the human interventions measures which can best be avoided due to risk of fatigue, panic, judgment errors, limited vision, collusion, and negligence. Okay, so that's the story that will be taken from the Punch newspaper. Okay, so this is him coming out to advise how to pay attention to the pipeline vandalism. Okay, so I think that if this is also put into consideration, we can make headway, because one of the things they do is, as far as our government is concerned, is they do things but they don't supervise, they don't follow up, they don't monitor. And thank God so far that the people who have been put in charge lately have been doing so well. We've been hearing stories of how they've been able to catch some hoodlums who have been coming to vandalize the oil pipelines so far. So now, with all of this put together, do you think that there is a safe way for us as far as this suggestion is concerned? Because as far as I'm concerned, he's making the suggestions which I believe if the government pay a close look into it, we can make headways. What's your take?
Modot, if you are, have you ever heard of pipeline vandalism in New York Times? Or maybe you hear in the BBC or CNN news pipeline, except for this part of the world. And why is it happening? Because they have the assistance of the community. Because they know that the community knows that when you vandalize, they stand a chance to get few fuels to sell or to tips and what have you. And that's because you have impoverished the people. So people keeps resolving and getting themselves into crime and what have you. I don't know.
But I still believe that.
So if you say every now and then you hear in the news, it comes on a report that there is pipeline vandalism. I don't know how you intend to secure. If you like deploy drone, if you like deploy the army, if you like deploy the navy and the air force, all of them join together. If you keep impoverishing the people, it will persist. Everything that happens in Nigeria as of today, as a result of the evil taught by the politicians, they have impoverished the people so much that the only way they are pointing to the people is go and steal.
And it's so sad that it is the victims of this.
I don't know why citizens are to suffer so much in the hand of the politicians. I don't know, but since this is the we voted for them, and sometimes when we even fail to vote, they have their way of imposing themselves on us. So a time of liberation will come for Nigerians. But what I can say about pipeline vandalism is that the organizers that are trying to make effort to make sure those pipelines are not vandalized, it's a good thing that they want to deploy drone, they want to deploy this, they want to deploy that. But beyond that, it will persist, provided those living around that premises, you take my fuel, you take my oil, and I'm poor.
But do you know that these decisions does not just happen by the masses? They have people up there who give them the go ahead, who make sure that the place is secured for them to carry out this act.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
At the end of the day, when they get to catch these people, we don't hear the story again after that time. So and then it brings me to a point where I ask myself, what is the headway as far as this is concerned? Because we have people at the top who are pushing the masses to go and do this act, and at the end of the day, we don't get to hear about them. They close their mouth from even making a confession that will bring them out from wherever they might have been hiding when they, you pull out this stuff.
Take for instance, with all the suffering in the country, the Senate President is telling the people to keep quiet, not to say anything. I don't understand. You beat a child, you say that child should not cry. So the you're asking the child to die.
That is why I say this is.
Maybe as I'm beating you, just die, because it's someone that is dead cannot cry. You will not hear the shout of a dead person. So the word they're asking of Nigerians is just, as we are punishing you, as we are making the country hard for now, die. But we shall not die. We will live to see the goodness of the Lord.
When I was discussing a story with my younger brother, and then he just looked at me and said to me, sis, don't bother yourself. This is a country where our politicians, they do things and then they go scot-free. Nobody gets to hear about it. But is it supposed to be like that? Are we supposed to live in a country where people do things and then they go scot-free without facing the law, without the law bringing justice to them, and then the masses truly know that they've done this thing and then they need to suffer for the things that they have done? Well, at this point we have to say, God help us. Okay, so lastly, let's see if we can take this last story, still from the Sun newspaper, and this says we've lent nothing since 1999, says the CBCN president of the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria, CBCN, and Archbishop of Owerri Metropolitan, Loisius Ugoji, has said events leading to the off-cycle election in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi states, the brutalization of the President of Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Joe Ajero, and the unmitigated suffering hoisted on the innocent people of Imo is an indication that the people have learned nothing. Ugoji stated this yesterday in a homily during his pastoral visit to Christ the King Parish, Umoba, Urata, Owerri, North Local Government Area of Imo State. He said, I have never ceased to ask, whoever cares, if we have learned anything at all since 1999, when we started the current political engineering. Just yesterday, being Saturday, I asked a few people if they were going to cast their votes during the off-cycle gubernatorial election, and a number of them said they would not. They hinged their reasons on the outcome of the February 13 poll and the judicial decision. Okay, so since 1999, this man is saying that we have not learned our lessons. And truly, when you look at the whole scenario and the whole drama that has been going on through not just this election, but the previous presidential election that we had, is really questionable. And truly, as Nigerians, so now I'm asking you, Dapo, have you learned anything since 1999? Because I'm sure that I was still I was still a baby then. So have you who have gone ahead of us, have you learned anything? So now I'm asking you just the same way. This this is the same way you asked, have you learned anything in this past few years, and what do you think is the problem, and what do you think can be done? So let's just use that as an advice to the people before we round up.
Ah, God.
It's deep.
You see, what we are going through, there is a level of sickness. There is a level of sickness we are getting to that the doctor will recommend surgery. That this cannot be treated by mere drugs or taking a few drip and just making sure that person gains back life or something. Nigeria is at the state of surgical, it needs emergency surgery with the kind of damage our economic and cost system and everything. Nothing is working. If I may put it that way, I don't know the best word to use, but nothing is moving. People since 1999, like the bishop pointed out, is a very worrisome statement to have used. And if you look at it, the only president that tend to ease the pain of Nigeria was Umaru Yar'Adua after Obasanjo, who reversed the fuel price with some amount of naira at the time. And I could remember, would have even leave that man to remain on sick bed, and the government should move on that the way it was then. Because I remember at the time, inpatient and naive citizens were shouting,
it's not working,
Nigeria is not working, that we have. But at the time we are buying everything until Jonathan came, increased the price. Then we shouted again, oh, good luck Nigeria. Jonathan came again and showed us pepper. Then we say change, and change the situation. And then Buhari came with bundle of promises. There is not APC did not promise Nigeria. The APC came and then I brought pepper. They said, he's just taking his time. It was empty treasury. It was this and that. Then they said, second time, let's give Buhari a second chance. Then the second chance was like, hey. And then the young began to cry, oh, this must not happen to us. We are suffering enough. Hey. Then they presented us Obi, Atiku, and Asiwaju. Then Asiwaju said, Emi lo kan. Asiwaju promised us heaven and earth. He said, then the Yoruba father said, Yoruba eronu, Yoruba eronu, all our parents did not let us sleep. Now we are Ronu, and now we are in Emilokon, and now it has come. I know the suffering have reached everybody.
even those who can step the words.
I know one of our colleagues behind the cameras, who was promising everyone. Now he support her. The man is supposed to show you the paper. He will park his cars in long distance and use yellow bus to get down to the office.
So now,
so it has reached everybody. That's the sad part of either you are APC or PDP or Labour Party. Well, it has reached all of us. I don't know why you will help somebody to punish us. I don't understand. Because if APC decides to have a rally somewhere around this Ikeja, you will see crowd there. I don't know what people are doing. Where it's supposed to be a protest, you will see people jubilating, and I don't understand how these things works. So left to me, have we learned since 1999? We have learned, only that we have not learned, only that we have not adjusted to what to do next from what we have learned. That's the problem. We learn to, but we have refused to adjust and say, I better do things the right way.
Well, if you speak of adjusting, I would bring you back to where we have the Lekki toll this protest that we had. All of it was centered around about all of this put together, and then we are still here. The moment the masses is about to hear their voice, they shut them up. And I think it is high time for us all to also make sure that in our own little way we do the needful. Because speaking of which, I remember while growing up, my mom will always give us 200 naira, 250 naira. We'll cook a pot of soup. Before mommy comes back, we have done cooking pot of soup. We'll buy crayfish, 20 naira. We'll buy stockfish, and then we'll buy palm oil, 20 naira. Then they'll tie palm oil for you, and then you buy okra. Then if you buy okra, 15 naira. It used to be very much to cook very nice pot of soup. But now 200 naira cannot even buy pepper. 200 naira cannot even.
You can't use it to entertain any guest.
And I'm like,
be a poor guest or rich guest.
How did we get here? And well, we keep talking about the way forward that we all.
I know how we got here. Bad leadership. That's how we got here. Bad leadership. What happened when Boris Johnson resigned? Just few exchange rate between the dollar and the pounds or so at the time, and there were a lot of crisis, and he resigned. Honorable, he resigned.
Because he didn't
Nigerian
want his
politician
name.
will never resign to do what? All of you can die. They
Rather
can't
than fighting
resign.
for the seat. All right, thank you so much. This is where we'll call it a day on the newspaper review. Thank you so much for always joining us and making sure that you stay tuned to the Cactv. Thank you so much. I remain yours truly, Modoti Dominic.
And I'm Dakoloruto. God bless Nigeria. God bless you.
Yes, make sure that you have a lovely day ahead and have a blessed week. See you tomorrow.
CACTV, igniting the apostolic fire.